Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to GT7. Now today's video I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. It's something that I've not actually done before, is ranking the cars from update 1.27. Now obviously we had the most cars we've ever had within a single update this time around being 5, which whilst it doesn't sound like a lot, it's a welcome addition compared to the kind of standard 3. One thing to note actually that really did surprise me is the fact that they were all very good cars. So as you can see here, we're starting number 5. It's going to be the Ferrari VGT. Now I absolutely love this car. From a VGT standpoint, this car is absolutely brilliant. In all honesty, it's something a little bit different, and it's nice to see that the Ferrari VGT came in the game without disappointing from a performance standpoint. It's exactly what I expected from this car. It's very solid, very fast, and whilst it's not as kind of crazy as some of the other machines, it's kind of, you know, a overall good package, I must say. Now the only thing that really let this car down was it falls to, you know, a little bit short in the tuning, you know, sense. There's literally nothing you can do to this car, which means that kind of building any kind of different build for this car is a massive struggle. You can't even get it under 800 performance points. I believe you can't even tune the suspension, anything like that. So it's very difficult to kind of fine tune, which really does kind of let it down. In all honesty, if we had the ability to actually kind of, I guess, tune it to our liking, I think a lot of other people would really enjoy this car. You're kind of stuck with really how it is out of the box, and that's your lot really. So it just had to go in at number 5. In all honesty though, like I said, from a VGT standpoint, it's a very solid car. I actually really like the look of this thing. It's grown on me. It almost kind of looks like what I imagine hypercars from Le Mans will look like, you know, in a good few years time. In all honesty, it looks like a race car, but for some reason it's also, you know, classed as a road car, which for me was another downside. Now I could actually see this getting a Group 1 version. Like a lot of VGTs, they'll kind of get their road going version, and then a little bit down the line they get some Group 1 versions. And with the likes of the McLaren, Bugatti, etc. having one, I don't see why the Ferrari wouldn't get a Group 1 version, maybe even in a few updates time, which I think may actually improve the car. I think the whole kind of fuel usage, the way it is, the, you know, the lack of tuning and such really did disappoint. And I think if we do get that Group 1 version to be in line with the others, it'll probably just make it a overall better package, because this one, in all honesty, does deserve a race car version. So that's going to be it. That is number 5, the Ferrari VGT. So let's go and see what is up next, and this was probably the hardest decision of the bunch, so we'll go over and have a look now. So I just want to give my apologies to C8 fanboys everywhere. Honestly, with this and the next car, it was so difficult to kind of judge which one would be in 4th and which in 3rd. There was no competition really up front, but with these two in at P3 and P4, it was so difficult. I just didn't really know what to do. I absolutely enjoyed this C8, and I cannot lie, once it is fully tuned, it's a great package. But the standard version, I just cannot find myself really falling in love with. There's just something difficult and weird about the handling. Like I said in my review, mainly under braking and getting the car through the corners. Whilst it is a completely, entirely different beast when fully upgraded, I feel like the fact that the standard model was just really not what I was expecting was kind of the main disappointment. At least with number 3, you kind of know what you're going to get, you know, considering, you know, how their other cars are, but you'll kind of see what I mean later on. But yeah, I mean, overall it's a very good package, but I just think it just doesn't have the edge over what I've got at number 3, and that is for a very big reason. But honestly, when I reviewed the C8, I really enjoyed it. I, you know, had fun with it. I said it's a okay package. The price point is the kind of the main standout for this car. 85,000 credits as a base price is very good for the performance you know you do get even at standard, let alone when, you know, you put a few 100,000 in terms of upgrades into it and it becomes a whole different machine. It really does carry on just how good the tuned Corvettes in this game really can be, so props to it for that. But in all honesty, I just had to put it 4th, and you'll kind of see why when I explain. I don't want to give away too much, Until now, so because we are going to get into number 3. So P4 for the C8, a very good car overall. It doesn't mean I don't like it. Number 3 then goes to this, the Bugatti Chiron, and there's a reason for that. As a standard car, it is worse than the Corvette. In all honesty, it just is. And I know I said that's kind of what let the C8 down, when whilst the kind of standard C8 is better than the standard Bugatti, there's a reason I had to put this, you know, above. Is the fact that when this thing is fully modified, it is probably one of the craziest cars I've ever kind of used within GT7. And I am not talking from a grinding perspective. Putting this thing with full modifications on to the point where it's hitting 1800 brake horsepower is absolutely ridiculous. The way it launches itself out of corners, the top speeds it's hitting almost at the 300-mile-an-hour barrier in a production car is absolutely ridiculous, and it really does feel fast, and that's what's good about it. Once you kind of get it going, it just launches and it does not stop for anything. It is a absolute missile, as well as being a mix of a barge as well. It's just such a weird thing. Now the modifications really do help it. They kind of solve all the shortcomings of the base model. The fact that the brakes get better, the weight reduction, you really feel the car being able to be thrown through the corners more. It's more stable under braking, it's more stable through the corners, it's even faster, it launches faster, and honestly, out of the hypercars, when they're fully upgraded, this thing will just launch you into oblivion. I had a subscriber lobby open where I went and used this thing, and it just absolutely dominated. It's ridiculous. Yes, it's thirsty, yes, it's not overall the best car to grind with or anything like that, but just for the fun factor and how impressive this thing is when fully upgraded, it's absolutely incredible, and that's why it takes P3 over the Corvette C8. So let's go and check out what I've put in P2. This one, a legendary car, a car that's been featured in many Gran Turismo games before, in many classic racing games. In all honesty, it's probably one of the most iconic rally cars of all time, you know, also being featured in the likes of Sega Rally and such. It's just such a cool car. This is the Toyota Celica Rally Car, the ST205, and in all honesty, I was tempted to put this first if it wasn't for the car, well, that is actually first. I just think it's a lot more limited. It's obviously a rally car, which, whilst, you know, I think the main downside of this car is the lack of rally events. I don't think there's enough of them. There's not enough kind of interesting rally courses. You know, we've all kind of ran them to death at this point, including this one here, Barcelona, which is just, you know, probably one of the standouts because it's very kind of, you know, a proper rallycross track. You know, I just think that's kind of what put me away from putting this in P1. You know, whilst I absolutely love the car and as legendary as it is, because it really is, you know, something awesome, very kind of renowned throughout Gran Turismo games. It's great to see it returning. It looks stunning. You know, I feel like the lack of rally events really do lay it down. Whilst it is mainly kind of, you know, based on, you know, having hard tires when you first buy it and such, again, it's still a little bit underpowered, you know, even when upgraded compared to the likes of the other rally cars that it mainly race with. It is a very grindable car and it is a very legendary car. One thing to note, when you put that full turbo on, it just becomes a whole different machine. Whilst it's not the most ridiculously powerful, it's an incredibly, you know, fun car to drive. You know, it's probably some of the most fun I've had when I've just been relaxing, chilling in time trial, and just kind of showing off, like with the anti-lag on full blast at night, you know, getting it sent sideways. It's an absolutely awesome machine. But yeah, P2 for the Celica if it wasn't for the car that we've got in P1. And well, you probably could have guessed this, considering there was only 5 cars and there's 1 to go. Yeah, honestly, it was unbeatable. I praised it in my review, and I still praise it now as probably my favourite car in GT7. That is the Alfa Romeo Giulia GTAm. What an absolutely incredible machine. I love this car to death. It's only been in the game for a short while, but honestly, the time I've spent with this car, I've never had a dull moment. It's such a nice car to drive. It's just so usable, whether it's fully upgraded or standard. The sound it makes, the look, the interior, just everything about this car is just makes it perfect. In all honesty, this is the best car that I think we've ever really had post DLC, you know, post release really, as whatever you want to call it, a DLC car or whatever. Yeah, really good edition, solid edition. But, you know, to be honest, if I had to compare it, like I said even in my review, the Cayman GT4, it was very closely matched in terms of just how good they are to just jump in and drive, whether it's fully upgraded, standard. I feel like everyone can have confidence in these cars, and that's really where it excels. It's not a limited car. I feel like anybody could really use it, have fun with it, drive on the edge with it without feeling like the car's just going to throw them in the barrier. It's so accessible for almost everyone, as well as like whether you've been playing the game for ages or you've just started out. You know, this should be one of your go-to cars. You know, it's great, it's so fun, it's so usable, and that's why it is honestly my favorite car from update 1.27, if not one of my favorite cars added to GT7 period. It is just absolutely awesome. I really enjoyed my time with this one. Like I said, I cannot praise it enough. And I'm just honestly, Polyphony, look, do more of this. Bring these kind of cars that we've all been asking for, because this car was so anticipated. As soon as it was kind of seen on that list, people were begging for it for months, just like the 190e. So there's a hint, Polyphony, you know, bring out that 190, seriously, please. I'm just dying for some Group A races at this point. But yeah, look, this car was massively anticipated, like I said, and it lived up to that hype. And I feel like that's what's so good about it, is that it just did not disappoint. You know, usually cars will come along in a game, or even legendary cars will be like so hyped, and then all of a sudden you realize within a few weeks they're just not usable. Whereas this, I feel like it will just genuinely stand the test of time, and it just feels great. So there we have it. That is my top 5, or I guess all the 5 cars ranked, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, thank you so much for the support. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on so you don't miss a daily upload from me. Everything's down in the description that you want to know, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.